Thank you very much, Honorable Obiamo. It's really been an instructive discussion with you.
Thank you so much.
Many thanks for spending some time with us this morning. And also thanks to Dr. Richard Fiadomo, who is the President of the Chamber of Local Governance, as well as the Honorable Bismarck Inkum of Gomoa West, and Abraham Amaliba, who is the Director of Legal Affairs for the NDC. We take a break and we'll be right back with the Takoradi woman's story.
Introducing Nestle Milo All-in-One Nutrimix. The goodness of malt, milk and cocoa in Milo, and even more milk. Just add to water and enjoy the perfect cup of winning energy. Milo! Milo! This advertisement has been vetted and approved by...
From 16 beautiful and intelligent women, 6 have made it to the ultimate grand finale of GMB 2021. Who will be crowned Ghana's most beautiful queen 2021? Sunday, 3rd October. Is it Safwa, Manu, Akosia, Mfojo, Settle, Wedaga? Vote for your favorite via short code *713*13#. GMB, rediscovering true beauty.
And is sponsored by Lavon's Tomato Mix, Camel now from Kerex, Freedom from Casaprecon, GTP, Darling Lemon Drink, Airtel Tigo's Big Time Bundles,
Lufat,
Deluxe Acrylic Paint, Heaven Black Mosquito Spray and Coil, and Napa Mackerel,
Geisha, Close Up,
Ayo Insurance, Fun Milk Nutri-Day Yogurt, and supported by
Connect FM Watson Trade Fair in Chamakai or Badubio. Now, Fimosena. Jita was a greater. No was a boy in a ground so hot. Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. O Shasu Kuda 29 September. Nay Yenu Kusida 3rd October. What's a cradamo Nayamwa? Company Sakasin and Jumokuka Kramba and I want to offer in our baby. I was at on Mamma Katake Pa. Boloncho, Nasan for Tanasi. Francis Jeremiah register away 0244 244 027 and 0545 572 856. Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. Kade on your 29th September, 6th October. What a cradamo name. Can I work for your cradamo? Connect FM Watson Trade Fair. What's the food and the project?
Let's Go Farming. Show Saturdays at 4 p.m. on TV3.
Skipping breakfast is not ideal because you may end up missing some essential nutrients and also end up snacking all throughout the day. So hop on the Fat to Fit train and lose weight the right way. Lego. I am so looking forward to speaking to Mommy Ekra Gazy. Help me welcome her on the show. Hey. Have you ever said to yourself that you don't have enough time in the day because you've got too many things to do?
Looking at blocking your time helps you to move away from the traditional to-do list, which can be frustrating.
Yes.
It can be underproductive.
I lost my job
So I was just contemplating what to do for a living before I get another job.
The corporate entity is not a thing that is hanging. It is made up of human
people.
beings. So when the human beings individually are struggling, that corporate entity struggles.
Today's Woman shows Sundays at 3 p.m. and repeat Wednesdays at 3 p.m. on TV3.
Thank you very much for joining us on the Key Points. Continue to send your messages to us on 055-369-8789. Now, this week, the nation has been transfixed by the curious case of the Takoradi woman, Josephine Penny-Mensah, who, in the words of the police, disappeared and reappeared and was not kidnapped, as earlier claimed by her husband and family. The last 24 hours have been especially dramatic as police announced via social media that she had recanted her claims about being pregnant and being kidnapped. We are told she is also appealed to the police not to prosecute her. We are learning that that the lady is receiving more medical help, but for now she's in custody of the police at the Central Police Station in Takoradi in the Western region. Whew, what an end to what has been a packed week, on this issue. So we are learning that 3 people were also charged for conspiracy. They've not been identified by the police. But is that all? Or do you, maybe like me, remain a bit unconvinced? Some are asking if she even had legal representation as she recanted, or did she just succumb to the pressure? Do we continue to wait and see? And so we moved on to the issue of the Takoradi kidnapped woman and matters arising. Our guest this morning to put some of the issues in perspective, the Honorable Nana Oye Bampoado, former gender minister, human rights and gender activist, also Adib Sani, a security analyst. Then I must put on record that we have made efforts to reach the Ghana Police, particularly the Director General of the Ghana Police Service, ACP Kwesi Furi, but he's been unresponsive. Our efforts to get a representation and comment from the Western Region Police Command and PRO has also been declined. So that's how come we're going without a police representation this morning. Thank you both for making some time for us this morning on Key Points. Thank you.
Thanks. Good morning.
Honorable Bampoado, thank you for coming in. Mr. Sani, thanks for coming in.
My pleasure.
So, let me start with you, Adib. How do you describe this entire saga in the last 24 hours?
Well, first of all, a very good morning to yourself, your production team, and your viewers alike. In your introduction, you said it's the end. It's not the end.
It's not the end.
It's not even the beginning of the end, but perhaps the end of the beginning.
The end of the beginning, yeah.
I'm sure as the days go by, a lot of revelations is going to come. But I've been very categorical from the beginning that we need to assess the victim's mental capacity, in as much as we're concerned about, ensuring that the investigation is done in a timely manner. Because in criminology, when investigating a crime, we see your biggest enemy is time. We should also be concerned about her mental status, because if we push her to give information, she might, one, be incoherent. Secondly, she might even mislead the police. There are so many questions that still remains unanswered. But one thing is for sure, the aftermath of the said kidnapping hasn't been well managed by the police. I mean, we have a protocol to follow in dealing with crisis, and I think the police would need a lot more training in crisis management, because we saw the same mistakes made with the Takoradi missing girls, and most shockingly, those same mistakes are repeated with this one, because I would have expected that first and foremost you get a liaison between the police and the family, because sometimes the families have the tendency to undermine investigation just because they are human, just because they are in a state of denial. That is why it's important that you keep them informed every step of the way, but at the same time try to manage information so it doesn't compromise the investigation in the first place. We also say that the crime is one thing, management of the aftermath is another, and if it is not well managed, there's always a tendency of the aftermath even becoming more injurious than the crime itself, and that's exactly what we saw.
Okay, so let me put you on hold there before we go into those further details. Honorable Bampoado, how do you describe the last 24 hours?
It's very disturbing. It's very disturbing that lessons have not been learned. It's disappointing that the police have not acted professionally, that the regional minister who is in charge, or the chair of the Regional Security Council of the Western region, has also not acted professionally. And when I talk about lessons learned, we saw what happened with the Takoradi 3. So my assessment of the police statements has been that it seems like they are reacting, they are being reactive, they are responding to the public pressure and the public sentiments and the public concerns, instead of staying focused and being professional about how they would deal with this issue. You can see a disconnect between the regional coordinating, the security coordinating council, the security network headed by the regional minister, and the police service. They are contradicting each other. There's this issue about ransom paid. The regional minister's aide is saying that 3,000 cedis was handed over to the police for ransom. The police are denying it. The regional minister, within 24 hours or so of the Penyin Mensah being reappearing, issues a public statement. We don't know whether it was with the support or cooperation of the police service. Then the police service also issues a statement, I think on the 23rd or so, and one of the focus of the statement is how they had 40 officers and then they are congratulating the 40 officers who have worked night and day and all that. So you can see they still have the bruises of the Takoradi, the 3 kidnapped... The
Takoradi girls.
Yes, the Takoradi girls. They still have the bruises, and they are trying to show that, look, we are working on this. But when you even read the statement, they say that they informed the family of Penyin Mensah, but they did not. The Penyin was found disoriented by a carpenter on the grounds of the Jehovah Witness at Tulani in Axim. And I've listened to the account of Kwesi Nana, the carpenter, the gentleman.
Yes,
and he's saying that she used sign language and wrote the number of a pastor on a piece of paper. And then he called the pastor and then also called the family. So, and then he was the one who even called the police and got the police to come over. So there are some contradictions. For me, the most important and most critical is the lady, Penyin Mensah. Has she been given legal assistance? Was she informed of her rights to remain silent? Under what circumstances was her confession procured? Who were the professionals there? Has she received psychiatric help? Has she seen a clinical psychologist? What is the composition of the team dealing with this case? Because there are medical issues, there are psychological issues, there are issues relating to her mental state, and then also there are criminal issues. And then even this whole, why is the police focusing on whether she's pregnant or not? Where is the criminal element? If the husband reported the case a day after, I think she got missing on Thursday.
Last week on a Thursday and on a Friday.
And then on the Friday, the husband reported. It was the husband who told the police that she was pregnant. And so if the husband told the police she was pregnant, and you have found out, we are not sure, you found out that she's not pregnant, where is the criminal element? We as Ghanaians are concerned about the kidnapping. When you read
whether she was kidnapped
or not. And your investigations on that. Why is the police focusing on whether she was pregnant or not, and the fact that she has faked the pregnancy. In terms of security, in terms of law and order, I would have thought that the focus would have been on the kidnapping. The pregnancy is an element, is a component of the investigation. But we are now scared of getting kidnapped because there's so many reports. You just Google kidnapping in Ghana, and it's all over Ghana.
And it looks like the Western region is
the Western region,
certain targets.
Yes.
Adib will give us more.
You see, so
that.
For me, we want to know. And I'm disappointed that ACP Kwesi Fori has not responded to calls by TV3 to provide information or even to get a representative for this program, because this is a topical issue presently in Ghana. There's a lot of discussion on it, and we are worried about our safety and security. For the first time in my life, I will not go out alone. I will not drive alone after 10 p.m. because I'm not too sure about the security situation and whether I'm safe or not. This is the very first time in my life. I could drive around 3 a.m., 2 a.m., 12 midnight. But now I'm being more careful because of the reports that I'm reading about kidnapping.
Okay, let me come to Adib. I mean, there's been the criticism that the police are focusing so much on the pregnancy. Maybe you can give us a view. Maybe some of us may have missed it. Has there been an established timeline of the kidnapping, who is involved, where it happened, whether it didn't happen, that kind of thing? Because we all seem to have been sidetracked by this whole pregnancy business, whether she was pregnant or not.
Okay. So, like I indicated earlier, the manner in which the whole affair is managed is what is adding to the seeming lack of trust and confidence in the police and exactly what they are doing. Like I also indicated, currently there are a lot of questions that really, as a matter of fact, remains unanswered. Before the police came out with a statement with respect to the kidnapping, the initial statement that came, the regional minister
23rd.
went on radio. Yes.
Yes. So the
23rd.
regional minister went out prior to the issuance of that statement. Yes.
And he categorically stated that the lady was not pregnant. So he set in motion that pregnancy agenda. Okay. And I thought that it was somewhat irresponsible on the part of the regional minister to not exercise some level of due diligence.
But is that fair? Because his narrative hasn't changed from the police's narrative in the last couple of days. Nothing seems to have changed.
But you see, when you're dealing with a crisis situation, information is very important. The way you couch it, you know, the timing of the information. Okay, and I'll tell you why it was a big mistake on the part of the minister to come out with that information. Okay, I personally went on social media to just, you know, gather views and opinions about what is going on. It would interest you to know that a vast majority of persons
responding on the issue
are indicating that the police statement is a grand scheme to protect the minister. You get me? Because they wouldn't want the minister to be dragged into disrepute, and that some were even opining that there were some hands involved and the police is just trying to protect them. I know full well that the regional minister, like Nana Oyi rightly mentioned, is the chairman of the Regional Security Council, and so by virtue of him being the chair, would be privy to some information, okay? But it wasn't in his place to come out with that information, because it is the police that has to sit around a table and decide what information to bring out and what information not to. You see, investigation is not a football match, so you don't expect live commentary every step of the way. And it is always couched to in the first place, update the public, and secondly, protect the sanctity, protect the integrity of the investigation. So the fact that the minister has come out to say those things, trust me, is what has created widespread controversy and bickering among the section of the population. If he had zipped, I'm pretty sure that a statement from the police would have been enough to end all of these controversies. So there are still lots of questions that really has to be answered, including the timelines, whether some other persons were involved, because currently what we know is, and the police has been quite emphatic about it, that the pregnancy is fake and the kidnapping is fake.
Yes, they said they've arrested 3 people for conspiracy. They didn't tell us who these people
Well, I
were.
understand the mother,
but that's even later.
And the husband.
No, that's even later. That's
okay.
even later. They put it in their statement. But first, let's hear some of the residents from Takoradi who were quite unhappy with the regional minister and his comments and their views on how this has all gone down. And you think because it's interesting, because the regional minister made the statement, they can't make him come and apologize for it. So their statement has to now reflect that.
It's not.
Okay.
You know the police, they fear politicians.
Also should not have gone on radio to say this.
Well, a day before we were kidnapped, I saw the girl.
I saw her a day before she went missing, and she was still pregnant. She even showed me her stomach when I asked if she hadn't put to birth yet.
Nobody can convince me that she was not pregnant. She was. The minister should have hastened slowly.
I know the woman, and she has been pregnant for months. I even have photos of her.
We've also been speaking with this particular watch seller who says that she has been very close to Josephine for the past 3 weeks.
She used to struggle during the pregnancy. She could barely walk. She could not even cook. But we leave it to God if authority says she was not.
Tata is 70 years old. She lives very close to Josephine's house. And she tells us that this is how Josephine walks anytime she sees her. So this is what we know so far. Sources at the Axim Government Hospital are telling us that the doctor who performed observation on Josephine Payne-Mensah is Jerry Abobra. That for the past 6 days, there's no sign that Josephine had given birth. Again, Josephine was not lactating. So per that conclusion, they can say that Josephine was not pregnant.
Our colleague from the Western region there bringing us that update and the views of some of the residents of Takoradi. But Nana Oye, pregnancy is a medical condition. We cannot see someone and just automatically assume that the person is pregnant. The person may have other medical conditions like fibroid, which may lead to an extended stomach and the like. So maybe the residents are also jumping the gun. Only a qualified medical clinician can determine that.
That is true. We leave that to the health sector and the medical profession to ascertain and determine whether or not Payne-Mensah was pregnant. That is their expertise. But looking at the context and looking at the broader issue of safety, of security, especially maintaining law and order, I believe that this information ought to have been managed in a more professional way by first the regional minister and the Regional Security Council of the Western Region and the Ghana Police Service. And in managing this whole, there should have been a team made up of clinical psychologists, medical doctors, social welfare, and the Ghana police. Immediately she reappeared, and all these, like the security reports came about fake pregnancy and all that. A team should have been assembled to assess the situation, to assess her, and then take a decision on what sort of information to put out there.
Okay,
because what has happened is inflamed the community. The community are not happy, and they hold cases and all that, and that is so unnecessary. If the Ghana Police and Regional Security Council, led by the regional minister, had managed this, and why I'm concerned and worried is that we had a similar situation when the 3 girls were kidnapped. And why people do not trust the police is that we had the topmost officer, the CID Director General, coming up with a statement that the girls had been found. And what do we have? Several months down the line, we see the remains, we see bones and skeletons. And so that is why people do not trust what the police is saying. And I suppose that is why the police is trying to also react and come up with all these statements to show that this time around they are doing their job, and unfortunately they are messing it up because of that.
But the view is that the pregnancy or not is an integral part of the police's investigation, and it may not be wrong for them to hamper on that because there are security issues involved. If truly she was pregnant and had been found afterwards and she is not, there's a concern about where is the newborn. You know, there's a concern about the security situation, about whether this was for quote unquote ritual purposes, and that is what for some is why the pregnancy issue is critical. Because if there has been any attempt to take the pregnancy from her or deprive her of her newborn, that's a major security challenge.
Same location, Western region. We saw what happened with the Takoradi, the 3 girls. Same circumstances, disappearance. And so within that context, the police should be sensitive to how they go about not just investigating, but managing the information that they give to the public, and even the approach and the sort of information, so that people are very clear in their minds. And I would even have, with respect to the pregnancy, maybe even the medical doctors should have been the one communicating. Like, bring a whole team and get the medical doctors to do that. Then it sort of allays the fears and reduces the suspicions of the general public because of the past experiences and circumstances with respect to Western region, with respect to police in Western region, and with respect to the issue of kidnapping and females. Because it's the same scenario playing out. So they should have really been strategic and thought through how to manage this. And it's all to allay fears, and all the shouting and the disturbances in the community is what I am worried about. And the police could have managed this better and have been more professional, so that they sort of reduce all this. And like he said, yes, that, you know, involve the family. So get a representative of the family, engage with the family, because these are the same complaints that the families of the Takoradi girls said about the insufficient information and the failure to communicate with them. And they're reading all this on air. And this also fueled that distrust between the families of the Takoradi girls and also that. So things have to be done. The police have to manage this in a much, much more professional way.
Adib, yes, come in, Adib, because for many, the pregnant, and I put this to you as well, the pregnancy issue for many is fundamental. It is the basis on which if a newborn has been taken from the mother or the circumstances surrounding the loss of that newborn is not known, the police feel that that is the immediate issue to be tackled. They don't want women losing their children in Takoradi or in the Western region. And so the issue of the kidnapping then comes obviously later.
Well, Jifa, I would agree with you to some extent. It's an incontrovertible fact that the pregnancy should be part of the whole investigation. But quote me anyway. Now the investigation has gone beyond finding out the truth to rather vindicating the police, shaming the woman, shaming the community.
But if she said she faked the pregnancy, faked the death, is that fake that kidnapping? Is that shaming her? She recanted.
When you, I mean, you are a communicator. Even when you go through the lines, the communication lines put out there by the police, it is so obvious that it is an attempt to vindicate the police. Yes. Because in recent times, people have had a reason to be worried about what is going on in the country with respect to the insecurity situation. A lot of people have lost trust and confidence in the police. And I mean, I've been very categorical, right from when Dampari was appointed as acting IGP. I said that he has a lot of work to do so far as engendering the trust and respect for the police within the public is concerned. Because as we stand now, I mean, there are instances when people are victims of crime. They don't even report to the police. You ask them, they ask you to what end. Some of them tell you that when they go to the police, if they don't have a vehicle, it becomes a challenge because you have to get a taxi to transport the police to the crime scene. And some also contend that there are instances when they have to pay money, you know. So we really need to build that trust, because if there was that trust, a statement from the police should have been enough to put all of these to rest. Unfortunately,
yes. And then you see the police are not even, I mean, they are being callous.
Oh.
With respect to the victim, whatever it is, whatever, she's a suspect, fine. Should she have been put in cells in her condition? Should she, I mean, even
she was in hospital. She was at the Fiakwanta hospital. But it's only now that she's been arrested for faking the kidnapping and the pregnancy, where she even confessed that it looks like she had been pregnant but lost the baby, but then she didn't know how to now.
Has there been an assessment?
Mental assessment?
Yes, has there been a mental health? Has there been an assessment of her state of mind? Is she in the correct state of mind? Because, okay, if it is not true that she's faked, one issue. If even it is true that she's faked the pregnancy, would somebody under normal circumstances fake a pregnancy? And then the ransom asked, they say it was 500 Ghana. Then it was increased to 1,000. And then the regional minister says he gave 3,000. I mean, looking at all this, for 3,000, 1,000 or 500, there are obviously some issues and problems. And I would feel more comfortable if the police had come up with a medical assessment and
they came up with the medical
assessment. Well, they came up and said Azim, Takoradi, and Fiakwanta all say that she's not pregnant.
Yes.
As to what, and then one of the medical facilities even said that they even denied it.
Because
I can't remember which one.
Yes, one of them.
Because there are issues of privacy. I mean, how can you just come public with somebody's medical records as to whether she's pregnant or not, and as to whether she even had, support or her lawyer? I mean, because the police have even insisted on they could even have gone to Ghana Legal Aid Board.
Couldn't Legal Aid have also rendered their services?
Well, if they haven't been approached, you see, but Legal Aid Board could have even provided this woman with legal, because of the circumstance. Because sometimes you go to court and there's a murder case or so, the judge would actually appoint a lawyer. And under these circumstances, with the hindsight of what happened a few years ago, I'd have thought that the police would insist and ensure that she has legal representation, so that as they go through the investigation and the other processes with her, they are assured that she's being represented and she's being given legal advice. So for me, these are all the very worrying circumstances in respect of the professional approach that the police ought to have taken in this particular case.
They can go to 100 medical facilities. If you don't follow the right protocol, it amounts to nothing. It's completely useless. Okay? And Nanoyi is asking very legitimate questions. Okay? Were there third parties? Who are the third parties? Is it just the police? I mean, I would have expected that the police have a member of her family present, apart from the legal representation, and perhaps another party.
They said they had provided a team. You know, the police also has psychologists and the like. They said they had also provided some service like that.
But the trust is a major issue. And in the midst of all of these, the police should have, taking that into consideration and made sure that all of these, persons are available or present.
Yes. Okay. And if even in their statement, instead of focusing on the 40 officers working day and night and congratulating them, when they didn't even find the woman, it was a carpenter who found the woman. They could have even made those, added that to their statement. We have sought legal assistance for her. She has a lawyer who is helping. She has been referred, social welfare. We have a team, social welfare. We have referred a clinical psychologist who is, that would have enriched the statement, and Ghanaians would have been comforted that she is also her interest is being catered for, whatever the circumstances. This statement the police came out with yesterday wasn't necessary.
She has recanted.
Was that necessary?
But if she has, it's information.
It's to vindicate the police.
They are trying to defend themselves.
Okay,
it's about their image.
Okay, let's
not about paying Mensa, which is worrying.
And some of your messages on Twitter and via WhatsApp line, I'll take some of them now. This one from a gentleman who terms his name Fix Ghana Now. Why are we only looking at the pregnancy but not at the kidnapping issues? The police are no more talking about whether the lady was indeed kidnapped. Our focus should be on the kidnapping issues, not the fake pregnancy. Well, the police have also said that the kidnapping was fake. This other message says, the kidnapped Takoradi woman saga remains unresolved for many of us as responsible citizens. My question is, was she missing? Was she indeed pregnant? Was she kidnapped? Is she having legal representation? We need to know. And that's from Aziz Inwa. Prince from Koforidua asks, on whose authority did the Western Regional Minister make payment to the alleged kidnappers of the Takoradi missing woman? If the minister hadn't spoken, we would have taken the police release as sacrosanct, but now it seems there's some politics in the case. And some of your other messages coming from WhatsApp says, the Western Regional Minister should allow the security agencies to do their work. The interference of ministers in security matters hurts the nation. This is the reason why sometimes people were shot at Ijura. That's from Osman in Tamale. From Johnny in Sunya, he says, to be honest, why can't the police complete their investigation before coming out with a final statement? It was the husband who reported that his wife was pregnant, not the wife. So it could be that the wife deceived the husband. Then why are they charging the man for criminal charges? The Western Regional, I think that one has come already, and this one from Baba at Nkoko. Good morning, TV3. Based on past experience on the 3 missing Takoradi girls, I don't consider the police's communique to be entirely true. She could have been forced to speak in their favor. We pray that we achieve a positive result at the end of the day. And I think those are your messages that have come through. So, Adib, in reference to this case, so what next now? Because we're told she's being held at the Central Police Station. There's a question of what then would they be charging her for, because fake pregnancy is not a criminally inclined accusation.
And then you can't even say deceit of public officer because she did not complain. She did not tell the police that she was pregnant.
So what
I think
next?
That, okay, if they have to file charges against her, they can go ahead and do that. But I would have thought that the focus would be very much on whether she was kidnapped or not, or whether it was all staged. An attempt should also be made to ascertain whether she had support or help from somewhere, because I understand calls were made and some monies were paid, and that obviously is criminal, even though I'm not a lawyer. But when we concentrated very much on the pregnancy, it will not wash, because, I mean, it's a private issue. I mean, if I tell you I'm pregnant and the next minute you don't find a baby, I mean, it doesn't negate anything, because it's my life, it's my choice, okay? So I think that the seeming over-concentration on the pregnancy is unfortunate. But most importantly, Jifa, going forward, the police has a lot of work to do in improving their image in the eyes of the public.
But haven't they been doing that? They've been giving regular updates on issues, issuing statements, trying to engage on social media, share with the public that they are watching and all that.
Okay, well, when you take a closer look at the 9 pillar principles of modern day policing as opined by Sir Robert Peel, he founded the Metropolitan Police in the UK and later became the British Prime Minister. It's hinged on 7 pillars, but cutting across all those pillars is your ability to get the buy-in of the population. The people should be made to realize that they mandated you to perform that service on their behalf, and that the uniform you wear is provided by them. It has to go through, it has to go beyond the digital, means of reaching out to the people. We need the police in front of our doors, knocking on our businesses, asking us what our menacing security challenges are and what they can do to improve their service. That is why it's a service and not a force, okay? So they have to step out from the comfort of their offices, or you see them in, large Tundra, pickups going on patrols. They might be near you, but they are far away from you. So we need to see more of a police presence in these communities. And in criminology, we have what we call broken glass theory. It was propounded somewhere in the late 1980s. It's simply based on the premise that as minor as an offense it is for a glass to be broken, if you report to the police and nothing is done about that, tomorrow it might be a human being getting killed. So police should go beyond looking at people's faces before giving them the attention they need. All cases that comes before the police should be considered equal and should be dealt with as such, okay? Because currently, as it stands, I know of like 3-4 people who are victims of crime who have not even reported to the police. I sell security systems, and mostly when there's a home invasion, I go to help the client play back, and they just keep the tape. And I ask them, but you have to report to the police, okay? And another point is, a lot of Ghanaians are not reporting crimes to the police because of their personal safety, because we don't have a robust witness protection regime. So, because when they've announced 50,000 cedis, but the psychology behind the 50,000 cedis goes beyond the money. Before I give out information to the police, the first thing I look out for is my safety. Because you give out information and the next minute the whole community knows that you are the rats amongst us. So it's important that going forward, we need to have a robust witness protection regime that will be hinged on protecting the identity and ensuring security for people who come out with information to help the police make sense of the myriad of cases before them. And lastly, there's also the need for the police to have an anti-kidnap unit. within the Ghana Police
You think
Service.
we've reached that stage now?
Because we are heading towards that stage, you know, like in Nigeria. I mean, I have personally done a lot of research into kidnapping, especially in Nigeria. And kidnapping is one of the most virulent crimes when it comes to banditry. And we've had an influx. I'm not suggesting that all immigrants are criminals, but because of the influx of these people from other countries, especially Nigeria, some of them are criminals. You would realize that a lot of these kidnappings, okay, either would have a foreigner involved or that indirectly involved, okay, because they are transferring the knowledge to their Ghanaian counterparts. As a matter of fact, kidnapping is so un-Ghanaian. In the past, all we knew is you go to Circle, buy a phone, you get home and it's kiso. You know, but now it has attained a different, you know, character that is really putting a lot of fear into the Ghanaian population. So we need to stop it in this trap.
The police mentioned in their statement that the Western region is getting known more and more for kidnapping.
Yeah.
So for you, a kidnapping unit, is that what you call it?
Yes, an anti-kidnapping
unit
exactly.
is important.
It's very important. And you know, development comes with its own challenges. Yeah. Crime would definitely go up because the Western region is becoming a melting pot of activities, you know, with different people from all walks of life and from all across the subcontinent converging there. All right, and Sika Befie, there's money in the Western region. I mean, a lot of people have been lifted up, you know, within the social structure because of the oil find and, of course, the business
and the services that have been
so
made.
it is a lucrative. It's emerging to be a lucrative market for kidnappers, and there's a psychology behind kidnapping as well. It thrives where it is condoned. So when you kidnap and people pay, that is why I find it quite unfortunate that 3,000 cedis was paid. You know, because you are motivating the crime. You are motivating more and more people to go into kidnapping as an easier way of making money fast.
Yes, Nana.
I agree that, and that is also one gap with the Ghana Police Service and policing in Ghana. What are the crime trends? Because when I read the papers and go on social media, I see kidnapping is occurring more and more, and it's occurring throughout the country. Just before I came, I was checking, there's kidnapping in Savannah region, kidnapping in Oti region, kidnapping in Ashanti region, and these are just cursory reports on the media, and then also Western region. And it is the duty and responsibility of the police to provide Ghanaians with information on these crime trends so that it advises us on our daily business as we're going. Armed robbery is also a big issue because I'm sure you've seen the video
of these
motor guys on motor guy. I mean, it's just like they're picking up a delivery, a package. They just drive and then it's interesting that whoever was driving the car, the doors were not locked and all that. But if the police had provided information on, okay, armed robbery, they may not even say armed robbery is increasing, but offer tips through social media, etc., to Ghanaians on how to address armed robbery, I mean, and then also the issue of kidnapping. I remember there was one police officer, I've forgotten his name, he used to have a column in some of the newspapers, and he used to offer, is it Tete? I think he is called Tete, and all that. And we need to overhaul the policing in Ghana. If we've had several commissions of inquiry, commissions. We had the one I can remember is the Justice Archer. He was a former Chief Justice of Ghana. And that was during the late flight Lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings, around there, where we had some police reform. He set up a commission. I think 2 police officers complained about policing, and there was a commission set up, and there have been some reforms. I also remember IGP Namfuri setting up DOFSU in the late 1990s. I recall IGP Al Hassan also with this community policing and visibility. I know he came up with the visibility, and also I don't know which IGP, but PIPS, the institution under police that you can report police misconduct.
But they don't do much.
It's also been decentralized.
But they don't do much. You take your issue there, the policeman will be sent on peacekeeping and your case will be stillborn.
But at least, and I think we've reached, especially with IT, technology, social media and all that, and the present emerging crime trends, it's time, I'm hoping IGP Dampari sits down and then comes up with some massive major reforms that will change the face of the police. But very urgently, the communication outfit of the police needs to be overhauled. It is totally unacceptable that ACP Kwesi Fori will refuse to provide information in a timely manner to Ghanaians when we face such a precarious situation as kidnapping. That is totally callous on his part as an ACP who has even been in that position. He was in charge of...
he was the director for public affairs.
So
now he's director general.
He has experience. So he has no... Kwesi Fori has absolutely no excuse to behave the way he's behaving. We have regional PROs for police throughout. He should give them the power to also speak. They are professionals, they have been trained, and they can speak. I know Irene, Central Region, I know Tenge, and several others who have worked well. Kwesi Fori should allow them to do their job and to speak. We Ghanaians want a situation in Ghana where we have law and order and security. Our security is assured. The police have a duty to provide us with information. ACP Kwesi Fori cannot sit there and decide who should speak, which regional officer should speak, which one should not speak, and decide what sort of information he can give Ghanaians. He is a public officer, and he should do his work of providing us information. People are being kidnapped, and we want information from the police so that we go on our daily business. Now, and he should sit up and do exactly that.
Now, in reference to the Takoradi woman, I was asking the next steps for her because now she's in the custody of the police at the central police station, we are told. Can she be prosecuted for deceit of a public officer?
I doubt whether that would would actually succeed. The police have a duty to investigate and prosecute, so they should do their work. What we are saying is that she needs medical help. She needs a clinical psychologist. She needs social welfare. And they are all state institutions that are ready, willing, and able to help.
But
I know
if we do that, Honorable Bampoado, it may then, for want of a better way of putting it into, I don't want to sound insensitive, it may seem as if she may be getting away with making these false claims, which is what we don't want.
The prosecution, the investigation and prosecution can go on. We're not saying it shouldn't go on. What we're saying is that it should be approached in a holistic and comprehensive manner, because the Constitution, Article 18, and also guarantees her rights as a suspect. She has rights as a suspect. And so if she has mental health needs, if she has medical needs, if she needs a clinical psychologist, or they need to do a social inquiry report to assess her circumstances, the police she's in the custody of the police, they ought to provide her those services. And that is what I am recommending, that the investigation, the prosecution, and her needs should be addressed in a holistic manner, and information and communication to the public should be done in a strategic way, so that the public, the trust of the police is restored, the trust that the public have in the police is restored, and we get timely, relevant information, and we trust the information to be true. Having regard to the circumstances now, and even to the public comments that you have read out on this program, we can see it is obvious that Ghanaians do not trust the police in terms of the information they are churning out with respect to this particular case. And we need to roll that back, and the police need to assess and come up with information that Ghanaians would trust.
And Jifa, you know, I spoke about the need for an anti-kidnapping unit. I mean, modern technology grants us endless opportunities to be able to confront emerging crimes. There's a technology called triangulation. Anywhere you go with your phone, it communicates with cell sites. Okay, so from a command and control unit, they are able to tell where you are at any point in time. So if there's a kidnapping, obviously the kidnappers would make an attempt to get in touch with the victim's family. Do we make any attempt to find out where the calls are coming from? Because so far as I'm concerned, with the Takoradi girls, I understand the kidnappers spoke with their family, with the police for a number of days. Okay, so I'm sure that if we had followed up on that,
you need a court order to get phone records.
That is the problem. Yes, that is the challenge. You need an expert motion. Yes. So what in essence happens is the police would make a request to the court. So the court would write to the various telcos, and usually when you take it to the telcos, it takes them at least a week to provide you with that information. And we have the systems. Look, we have the systems to track without requiring a court order. But well, maybe the systems are reserved for some few.
But in the interest of the right to privacy
and the right to information,
human rights.
Sorry, not right to information. The data protection law.
But you see, special circumstance, or how did they even say it?
I mean, requires they have their,
special, you know.
So at least then the telco should have a certain timeline. If it's under these situations, maybe within 24 hours,
you know, going through the court system and all that. For example, if there's a hostage situation and you need to tap, do you have to go through the court process?
Well, you still have to follow due process.
You have to strike the balance between privacy and security. There's absolutely no way in any part of the world to ensure absolute security without tampering with privacy.
But that right is not absolute. The Constitution takes care of those exceptions. So public order, safety, security, and all that. So I'm sure the security services have their ways.
But there was a criticism, though, that the inability to secure the records to determine the number that made the phone call was part of the reason why even she had disappeared for a much lengthier period.
But what about there's a lady in Kumasi who I think she works with either the Lands Commission in Kumasi or the Land Valuation
in the
Board.
Eastern region, the wife of an academic at KNUST.
Yes, the wife of a lecturer.
Based in the Eastern region, yes.
And up till now,
we've not heard
anything. I'm sure it's been the family or her friends and others who have been posting regularly on social media. I think I've read a police statement or so, one, but we have not had any updates. So it's interesting that with the Western region one, we are having like every 12 hours, we are having updates. And then with the other kidnapping, because I do remember this lady, there was even a vigil and all that. We are not hearing anything from the police. And this is my concern about the communication from the police, because this is something that the Eastern Region PRO could have handled. And so what is happening? You know, why is there a fixation and 120% interest? I'm not saying there shouldn't be an interest, but we see the contrast of police communication. Whereas with this lady in Eastern Region, Land Valuation or Lands Commission, we
haven't seen much.
We are not seeing any, we are not hearing how the investigation is going on, what is happening, nothing. So that's where I am saying that the police are being on the defensive with this particular Western Region case, and they just want to project a supposed good image, which is not right.
Okay. We take a quick break and we'll be right back.
Let's Go Farming. Shows Saturdays at 4 p.m. on TV3.
This Saturday on Music.
This year, we know come to play.
So are you ready for Unsigned Hype?
Too much calling. When my baby know they pick up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Sister Efia.
If I say I love you, no be say you're a fool.
You mentioned a while ago that you have a set period for music.
F-E-T.
Yes, clicks.
You see my back, Jaja. See my front, Jaja. Send you with that, now you know. Send you with that, now you know. Send you with that, now you know.
Music shows every Saturday at 8 p.m. on TV3. Don't miss it.
God bless you. I greet you in the name of He who died and arose on the third day, Jesus Christ of Nazareth, to pull you out of darkness into His marvelous light. Join me on this station, a word that will move you to your next dimension, a word that will break every chain. And I promise you, you will encounter power, you will encounter fire, you will encounter light.
Voice of the Eagle shows every Sunday at 7 a.m. on TV3.
Skipping breakfast is not ideal because you may end up missing some essential nutrients and also end up snacking all throughout the day. So hop on the Fat to Fit train and lose weight the right way. Let go.
The stage is set. The battle lines have been drawn.
Are you going to play or you're ready for an offer to go home? You're going to play. Type of free kick in which a player can score a goal directly. No, you got it wrong.
Are you ready to be part of the thrills, fireworks and excitement as the three tussle to win big and chip away part of the mega 250,000 Ghana cedis cash from the boss?
2,600. You've done very well.
Disappointed.
Disappointed? Yeah. Hey, catchy.
The Game Show shows Sundays at 4 p.m. on TV3.
The Boss TV Game Show, proudly brought to you by G Money.
And you're welcome back. Let's just read some comments before we wrap up here. And these comments, this one coming from Abdul Razak from Boku. All the brouhaha surrounding the kidnapped Takrady woman is very dramatic, and all hopes lie in the hands of the police. So we wait for them to do justice in bringing matters to rest. This one from Albert Kweku at Ashale Butre. Please, as to whether the lady was pregnant or not, or whether she got missing or not and was finally found by the carpenter, I would rather encourage the husband to take legal action against the hospital, the regional minister, and the police. And on Twitter, this one from David says, good morning. Contradictory responses are being given by the parties, that is the police, the regional minister, the woman, and the residents, all providing different scenarios. From my point of view, she may have been coerced to say what she's now saying, and the evidence adduced may be vindicating the police. And so we have the timeline of how all of this went down. This whole week has been engulfed by this whole issue. But looking at what we have, we see that it started off with her reported missing in Takrady. Then reports emerged about kidnappers demanding a ransom while holding her hostage. Then the police also declared her missing. A team of 40 policemen were dispatched to find her, but we know that it is one person who found her eventually and later on contacted the police. And days later, she was also found at a church premises, reportedly unable to speak and purportedly without her pregnancy. So let's wrap up. But I think one of the key issues we need certainly to get some closure on is why the regional minister would offer money for the kidnapping. Could it also be that this was meant to be a bait to trap the individuals involved?
Which individual?
Those involved in the kidnapping.
You see, whatever it is, I would expect that the Regional Security Council, led by the regional minister, would work in tandem with the Ghana Police Service. Obviously, from the facts coming up, it's obvious that, well, the police are saying they were not aware. They are saying they haven't received any money. The regional minister is saying that he gave, or his aide is saying that he gave money. So I see that they were not working, perhaps they were not working together. And I know the police, the regional police commander is also a member of REGSEC. So I don't really know what is happening with that. And I think it would be better if they sorted it out in private.
Okay.
I mean, within their official circles. But for the aide to the regional minister to be, I don't know whether he was on radio or TV.
It was radio.
But for this to become public also has creates a further dent in this public mistrust of the police and security services.
And the management of the
and the management of communication. So it would be better if they sorted that out amongst the two state institutions, because it doesn't augur well, especially coming from the Western region. In terms of what I am saying is that whatever the case is, whether fake pregnancy, not fake pregnancy, whether kidnapping or not kidnapping, for even a woman to go through this whole length of perhaps faking a pregnancy or what, it shows that there is a fundamental problem. It could be medical, it could be psychiatric, it could be psychological. So there's a need for some assistance. And Ghanaians would have been felt assured that the woman's interest, Penny Mensah's interest, was being catered for if the police had included a sentence or two of that aspect of their that in their statement, that she has a lawyer, so she's being represented. There's a medical team who is looking after her social, psychiatric and all that. That would have helped. They should go ahead with their investigation and possible prosecution. Nobody is saying they shouldn't. But at the end of the day, Ghanaians want to know exactly what happened.
If she's prosecuted and is taken to court and she recants once again the claims that she faked the pregnancy, faked the kidnapping, to what extent would that probably harm the prosecuting process against her?
No, the issue is that...
Because she could easily say, I was forced to say this.
The issue is that she needs legal, at this point in time, she needs legal, even for the police, in the interest of the police and in the interest of their investigation and their prosecution. It would be in their interest to reach out to the legal aid board and request for a pro bono, a lawyer, for her. If FIDA is also in Western region, or there, I know the Ghana Bar Association is in Western region, and with our new Ghana Bar president, this is the first case that he should take up to ensure that lawyers also also engage in some civic responsibility and provide services to this to paying Mensah. Okay. So she should get legal representations in the interest of the police, and then also a psychologist and a medical. So we will want the police to have a more multi-sectorial team to address this. Psychologists, doctors, and then they can go ahead with their investigation and prosecution.
Okay, yes, I do.
And it's also in the best interest of the police to ensure all these are done, because there are instances where you have evidence against a suspect, yet the court throws it out because of the manner in which the evidence was even acquired. Okay, so the right processes has to be followed. And talking about the regional minister, I mean, there's absolutely no way, under no circumstance, should a minister take a security decision without recourse to the structures on the ground with respect to the Regional Security Council. And this is quite common. That is why it's important that after ministers are appointed, they really need to be trained. Remember what happened in the Ashanti region with the Ejura incident? Just because someone called him. We don't know who. Was it an intelligence source? We don't know. Someone called him and said there was chaos. And so he decided to also call the military in. So they really need training. But overall, this gives me the opportunity to say hello to one Inspector Francis Kwesi Zaglago. He's a police officer who have received information is doing marvelously well. A lady with her family were moving with children, and the way he interviewed the children to ascertain whether they were the parents, the lady says they were very impressed, and he is worth mentioning for the great work he is doing.
Thank you very much.
And I also mentioned my good friend Teku, and also
Simon Teku.
Teku,
yes,
and then Patience Kwe and all the others who have really.
I mean, there are great officers out there
really
doing lots of work.
And Joe of Dofsu.
Yeah,
the Dofsu team are also doing very throughout the country actually.
Yeah. So we just want more. So yes, that's what it is. So thanks very much. Many thanks to our guest, Honorable Oye Bampo Ado. Many thanks to you, Adib Sani, as well for joining us. You've been watching the Key Points live from TV3 and 3FM 92.7, and also on 3news.com. You've been following us on our Facebook page. Many thanks to all of you for sending your messages for our two topics. It's been a very, very packed show. We will join you again next Saturday. Coming up next, of course, is Warm Up Plus. Thank you for being with me, and I'll be here next week. Enjoy your weekend.